Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is going to be our spoiler reaction discussion spedification.
Spaghettification.
Spaghettification. I can't even say spaghetti right. They want me to say sophistication.
Pescetification.
Spaghettification. See, I could say that. Of Loki Season 2, Episode 5, called What?
No.
Science / fiction. Lot to unpack last week with, oh my god, they just blew up the timeline.
Right. And the TVA. And everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
All at once.
All at once.
Which kind of makes sense for this. This season.
They just need a bagel.
Before we get into this deeply, pay your actors. We're
so close.
So close. Don't do AI. Pay your actors. We're there.
Yep.
Sign it. It's right there. Get it done.
So close.
And if you haven't been in one of our reviews before, welcome to the roller coaster. Okay, let's start with the end of last week.
Yes.
With the timeline essentially exploding because it can't go through the loop, and a big flash, like everybody's reaction to the explosion after Victor got spaghettified. And everybody's just dumbfounded. Like we've done everything we're supposed to do, and it's gone bad. We can't do anything. And then there's the explosion, and they just accept their fate, like Jen and Cassian and Rogue One.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna run?
Right. Where are you gonna go? But this episode 5, starts with really ominous music.
Yeah.
A short Marvel fanfare before it turns into the Marvel green and yellow logo. And then it goes to the white, like how we finished off last week.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh. And as it desaturates the screen, Loki's face appears. And there's sirens in the background. And the first thing I said is he at the Blitz?
Right. Were there sirens before they exploded?
I'm sure there was, but we were so busy with everything was going on.
Maybe, yeah.
But what ultimately ends up happening is Loki is the only one left in the TVA. He goes wandering around, into a giant empty TVA,
right?
Which was probably not quite the creepiest thing that happened in this episode, but pretty close.
But that's not the first time he's done that,
right?
Because, I mean, he went back to doing what he did at the beginning of this whole season, which is time slipping.
Yeah.
And he had time slipped into the TVA.
Yeah.
Where there wasn't anybody there.
Yeah.
So
he time slipped. One of those time slips, he time slipped to a future version of himself inside the TVA.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then, I mean, as soon as he saw the person and said hello and they went to turn around, I was like, that's him.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. But the big thing out of that was he picks up the book. And then the TVA spaghettifies.
Right.
And, oh god, the TVA I just said it right. Spaghettified. As that's happening, Loki time slips to B-15, to Casey, to Mobius, to the McDonald's, and then ultimately to Obi.
Right.
And Obi is a science fiction writer who has the writer's lament of nobody's willing to pick up his book, and he has thousands of copies, and he's trying to get somebody to buy it.
But oh, by the way, he's also a physicist. As you do.
If they don't call him Data at least once in this show. It's gotta happen once. Like, oh, I was a little kid that lived in Oregon. It just happened. If the bookstore said Astoria bookstore, that's enough for me. That would have been perfect. That would have been the perfect. We'll have to go back and watch the episode. But the bookstore he was trying to hawk his books at, it would have been amazing if this is Astoria.
Does it actually say Astoria in that movie?
I
mean, I know it's filmed in Astoria, but I don't.
It's been a minute since I've watched Goonies all the way through, but I think they mentioned it's Astoria.
Do they?
There. I think so. Or at least the rocks give it away that it's Astoria.
Well, yeah, the
Cannon Beach and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. We're welcome to Oregon talk from two people from Arizona. Ultimately, what the plan is that Obi convinces Loki to do is to get all of his friends together, to have their aura together, to push themselves back through the timeline to a place in time that doesn't exist, that has now completely been stringified. Right. I could say that a lot easier than the other one.
Right. And they do, I mean, in reference to the title, they do, like, because Obi is a physicist, a scientist, but he's also writing fiction. So then they spend a lot of time trying to figure out whether they need to science this or fiction this.
Right. Science the shit out of this. That's an important reference for later.
I didn't say that because I didn't want to.
You're allowed to say one because.
Oh, okay. There's our one.
Eric does it on New Rockstars all the time.
All right. There's our one. Yeah. So they spend some time. So they go science.
And the science needs some fiction and some emotion to go with it. And I think ultimately what this episode comes down to is, as Loki goes in and collects everybody, because Obi makes a tempad based off of the book that Loki took from the TVA.
Yeah.
The first person he goes and time slips to, when he tries to start collecting everybody, is Mobius at his house. Mobius does sell jet skis. He's all about the jet skis. He's a single dad of 2 kids. One set an action figure on fire that looked like the TVA agents.
Yeah.
But in that conversation, Loki tells Mobius that you're one of my closest friends. Yep. You are my friend.
Yep.
I need your help to do what we need to do to save your kids, all of existence, blah, 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 blah. And then Obi shows up with a new TemPad after 18 months of working on it and everything.
Right. Because timey-wimey.
They go get Casey, who is escaping from Alcatraz. They get B-15, who is a doctor. And then he goes to get Sylvie. And Sylvie remembers. She's the only one of the group that remembers. Yep. And they go have a drink together. In the shot where they're talking, Sylvie's dinner from McDonald's, like, spaghettifies off in the corner. Where you don't really pay attention.
Right. But they go have rearview mirror of a truck or whatever.
Yeah. But they go have a drink together, and Sylvie's all like, Loki wants to get everybody back together to save the TVA.
Yeah.
And Sylvie's like, is that really what you want?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And he's, because we need to beat He Who Remains. Well, why?
Yeah. She played the why game with him.
Yeah.
And he ultimately says, I need my friends back. And it's not quite the omission that I think she was looking for. Omission? Yeah.
Admission.
That she was looking for, but it was close because she smiles at him.
Yeah.
And she says, I want to live my life. And he calls her out for it. Like, you're being selfish when we have a chance to save everybody.
Right.
And she turns it on him and says, you're being selfish to take all your friends away from their lives.
Right.
Maybe they're happy. Maybe they've got everything that they want. And that, I think, is the crux of this episode. Do you actually put your friends in danger for the greater good? Or do you let them die in peace because we know everything is starting to go away?
Yeah, but they didn't know that then.
They didn't, but he says, I want to give them the choice to help.
Right.
And the choices, that's been the conversation the entire time.
Free will.
it's this whole season's been about free will,
right,
and having the choice of, do I help, or do I get involved, or do I do blah, 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 blah,
right,
blah.
right,
And Sylvie's like, you're taking their choice away from them, and Loki's like, no, I'm giving them the option for the choice. And she's like, once they see the thing, they can't unsee the
right,
thing.
right. Yeah,
So you're taking that choice away from them.
yeah.
Well, she's wrong, and he's actually right, giving them the choice. But
I think they're both wrong and they're both right. It's like I think of what is the name of that one um with the comet uh the
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, do you tell people that they only have 6 months to live, or
Yeah.
that this thing is going to
Yeah.
crash into the earth, or do you just let it go, and because there's not anything they can do about it anyway,
Yeah.
and at least let the last 6 months be peaceful, not
Right.
be riots and
Right.
people running for their lives and committing suicide and all of that, right? So it's the same. There's no. It's a Sophie's choice. There's
It is.
no.
It is. But from Sylvie's point of view, because she had her choice taken from her,
Yeah.
she views what Loki is trying to do as the same thing that the TVA did to her,
Right.
which is not right. That he is trying to give them the choice.
Right, but ultimately, he just wants it back the way it was, so that everybody's back
Right.
together again.
Because when he says, "I just want my friends back," and she kind of calls him on being selfish for that, he's like, what do I do now? Because this is 2012 Avengers Loki, who
Right.
tried to take New York and take Earth.
Right.
And his whole process last year was becoming the Loki that we know, that dies by Thanos' hand,
Right.
the hero Loki. This Loki has now become the hero Loki, but he has witnessed his mother dying, his father dying, Thor leaving him. Like, he's got nobody. He gets Sylvie last year,
Yeah.
and Mobius, and then all of that goes to hell, and now he's in this position where Sylvie is there. He has feelings for her, themselves.
Self-love
Self-love
is important.
It's very important. But he he's at a point in his life where has no he has no direction. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go.
Right.
And because of that, he's trying to make everything like it was.
Right. Where he had a purpose and
He's the guy in high school who peaked in high school
Right.
and is trying to go back and make it
right.
all like that. Like,
Right.
let's get our friends together, and my friends are like, "Oh, let's go have a night together." And
Yeah.
but I gotta ask my wife first, and
Yeah.
the kids have soccer in the morning.
They're doing the mile.
Yeah, the two of the world's end,
The world's end.
the 12 pubs in
Walk.
one night.
Yep.
That's a good reference too. I just love that they actually spent time in this. We have to fix what's going on to actually address the idea that we're not trying to fix everything. Loki's trying to fix himself.
Right.
Look, Sylvie has fixed herself. She's done the thing that she needed to do, and now she just wants to go about her life.
Work at McDonald's and
live,
a
laugh,
simple life.
love, and eat French fries.
Right.
And a really bad haircut and sleeveless sweater shirts. God, the 80s. How did we? But Loki, this whole series, I mean, the series is called Loki, but this whole series has been about his journey of trying to find his purpose. He finding himself, finding his purpose, finding his place in this new world and everything.
Yeah.
And in this episode really hits that home with this idea of, I don't know what to do without my friends.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do without my family, my friends, the
Right.
life that I knew.
Yep. But then that decision all gets made for the both of them ultimately. So
because Sylvie's branch timeline spaghettifies.
Yep.
And the needle drop in the record store was
Velvet Underground.
Velvet Underground was awesome.
Yeah.
I just love the shot of her putting the record on the record player, the old style headphones. Like you would, there back in the day, kids, you could actually go to a record store and take one off the shelf and go listen to it in the back room.
Yep.
And her leaning back and the camera going with her, and then her eyes opening when the music starts to play.
Yeah,
and it just stays on her.
Yeah,
like upside down shot. It was the way that, we talked about this last week. The way this whole show has been shot,
yeah,
has been just great.
Yep,
just great.
Yep.
But she has He Who Remains
TemPad. Yep.
It's the super watch. It's more than the TemPad.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And she creates a door as her timeline evaporates and goes to Loki telling everybody, I made a mistake. I brought you into this. I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Woe is me.
Yeah. She's like, nope, wait. Back that up.
Back that up. I love Casey trying to borrow the TemPad so we can go rob a bank.
Could I go into a bank vault?
We talked about this in the episode. I like that they used the 3 guys who escaped from Alcatraz. We're trying to remember if they actually ever found them.
No, they didn't.
And so that's a second reference.
They escaped in a boat made of raincoats.
Raincoats, yeah. And they showed they didn't show it, but there was a boat with raincoats.
Yeah, because they did it on MythBusters to prove whether or not it would work, because they never found them, and so the assumption is they died trying, except they never found their bodies, and so it's been this mystery, just like D.B. Cooper, about what happened. So they were kind of adding in.
I like that that's twice now in this series where they've taken some mystery and kind of solved it inside the MCU. Like, this is how it kind of happened.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, sure, we have no idea how it happened. So
I have a list of other ones that I would like to do. I'd like Chewbacca somehow to be Bigfoot lost in the forest when they find the first video.
I would like to see how they built either Stonehenge or the pyramids or the connecting things that
Timataku?
Timu
We watch
Tonka.
Ancient Aliens a lot.
Timapunku.
We have lots of questions that we need the MCU to solve. In the part of what Loki was trying to get OB to help him do was control his time slipping.
Yep.
In that conversation, we did the who, what, when, where, why conversation, which was also part of what this episode was.
Right.
I know the writers had a fun time with this, because in writing, you always want to deal with the 5 W's: the who, what, when, where, why. Even though one is age. There's a W in there. And they had talked about the what, the where, and OB asked him why. Why do you want to do this? And he hadn't admitted to himself, and he hadn't admitted to Loki that he wanted his friends back. So he said, "I want to save the TVA." And that scene of him trying to,
yeah,
because I've seen a behind the scenes video this week of him doing the time slipping thing without the special effects.
Right, and then they just put them all over each other.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
And then when he went to Mobius's jet ski thing, when he first got there, for real, not just slipping around, and he materializes in front of the wacky wavy arm, doing the exact same motions as. That was so funny.
Get the visuals. But at the end, when Sylvie says, "No, we've got to do this," that branch timeline starts to spaghettify, and it starts with the TemPad that Obi had made.
Yep.
And I love the little beat and a half, 2 beats of accusing Casey of stealing it.
Right, because he had just said he was going to go break into a bank vault.
Right,
with it.
right.
Yeah.
So I like that they did that, because it's a little bit of a expectation subversion there for a second.
Yeah, because you just think he stole it, and then all of a sudden stuff starts going.
Timeline starts to spaghettify. Yep. Now, I don't remember, they did it with B-15's timeline. They did it with Casey's timeline. They all said where in the branch, and it said branch timeline, but I don't remember them doing it with OBs. So I'm wondering if that's the 616
Yeah,
Blood
I
Sacred
didn't.
Timeline.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't remember that one.
It was Pasadena, and it was like 1998 or something like that,
Yeah.
1996.
I don't remember
But
seeing
I
it,
don't
but it said-
remember seeing
Yeah.
whether it was a branch
But
timeline
when
or
that
not.
starts to spaghettify, it is heart wrenching for Loki to watch all of his friends that he has brought together to try to save them and save everybody else, and he's lost. He's lost, and
Yeah.
including Sylvie. Sylvie's
Yeah.
like, we have nowhere else to go. So that's like gave me another idea that this is the sacred timeline that they're on.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
she says,
this is it.
yeah, this is it, and he grabbing at the lines as they go whizzing by, him trying to save it, and then he time slips to when Sylvie tells him, "This is it. This is the only place we can go."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Wait a minute, I just did that." And then
guys.
and he slips again to that
Yeah.
point. And so he tells Obi, "I figured it out how to time slip." It was about he said it wasn't about why, it was about who.
Yeah.
It's about who I wanted to save, not why I wanted to save them.
Right, which is why he originally kept time slipping before he could control it into all of his friends' timelines.
Yep. And that again, we were just talking about the whole idea of his masturbation. No, masturbation. I tried to use a big word. It went so well. Welcome to the show. Like and subscribe. His
Mastering?
evolution.
Okay.
I'll just use that word because I know how that one works. His evolution as a character, and I love that with a character that we got an evolution of, going from mischievous to bad to evil to heart wrench to an actual good guy, dying an adventure like that. Like, I love that we got that story, and Tom Hiddleston is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we're getting to do it again.
Yeah.
In a different form.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he ultimately time slips back to when Victor goes out with the contraption to put it in the loom.
Yep.
So we get to the wild speculation part of the show.
Wait. There was an ending that also happened in the middle.
Oh, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Because there's wild speculation with that too.
Okay.
Wild speculation is, can he if he can control it, can he time slip with animate objects, with
with the new and improved loom,
with the new improved adjustment
thing,
whatever, I can't remember what it's called.
Back to when Mobius went out the first time.
Yeah, and he did it with the book
right
in his pocket.
Yeah, so
he should be able to.
Yeah.
And now he can control it. So so that I think that's the outcome that looks like they're going to try to do, because he is standing behind OB, looking down the steps, as the shot from last week as Victor is going down the steps to suit up.
So it's stop him before he goes outside.
Right.
Because you need that thing.
But what does that mean about Victor Timely? Because we know Victor Timely in the comics is not a good version of Kang. Very much not a good version of Kang. But now he's in the TV. So that there's all kinds of speculation. I don't want to go down that branch because we have a whole nother branch. Over this week, there's been a little bit that I've seen, but not a ton, of what does this mean for the overall MCU story, that you've just blew up the sacred timeline.
Right.
A report came out this week that there's discussions of bringing back the original 6 Avengers for Secret Wars.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that.
Including some other characters that would be Andrew Garfield and Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and there's because they're playing with timelines and different things.
Yeah,
like
you could you could do. I, not that it's necessarily anything I want, but you could do end game Infinity War like epic battle with all the different
timelines,
timelines
which I
and
think
characters.
is what Secret Wars is going to be.
Okay.
Now, the reason I get there is because we got a Zaniac machine
Yes, in the bar when
in the
Sylvie
bar
and
with
Loki
Sylvie.
were
Yeah. And
talking.
so I'm like, why are they holding on the Zaniac machine? And we've talked about this in the past. We don't know the comics very well. We're learning as we go along. Thank you, Marvelpedia. Uh, Zaniacs were parasites.
No, Zaniac is a bad guy.
Is a bad guy, but he was like a bunch of little things that came
together and made
It became one
one thing, which is the thing that was on the display on the video game.
and then that Zaniac possesses characters and make them bloodthirsty and want to kill women. Probably skip the women part.
Right.
But Zaniac is directly connected to Dormammu.
Yeah, he came out of Dormammu's world.
And at the end of Multiverse of Madness, in the second post-credit scene, Clea, as Charlize Theron, great casting by the way, shows up and cuts a hole in reality, and in the background, it looks like Dormammu's
world.
Yeah. Space, whatever. Yeah. Whatever. He's a planet.
And multiple people have said that. I think it's pretty known that that's. I mean, I've heard it from multiple people. Yeah.
But the thought is, if we're gonna really do Secret Wars and have everyone come together for one big battle royale thing that Secret Wars ends up being, I wonder if they're going to use Dormammu as the character to bring everybody together to get back at Strange. It could just be an Easter egg for the comic book fans, but they made a point at the end of when all the credits got done, before they got into if you stick around for the credits, they do everybody who worked on it, and then they do all of the voice actors, I believe, who translate everything in all the different languages throughout. And so it's usually like off in the corner, and then for us it says, you should watch Miss Marvel. Yeah, we should rewatch Miss Marvel. We're going to see the Marvels
watched it, but I'll watch it again.
But at the end of the music for the episode, the Zaniac voice from the game came on and said, "You're dead. Insert another a coin to play again." And so it feels very interesting that they're doing this kind of, you've died, come back. And in when everything was getting spaghettified and Loki was grabbing everything, one of the things in there was one of the voice things in there, or the things that he's hearing as it's all going by, is Sylvie saying, "Aren't we, as Loki's, destined to lose?"
Yeah.
And it's kind of an interesting. I'm maybe projecting a little bit, but it's a very interesting kind of concept of Ready Player One, Ready Player Two on the screen of the Zaniac machine, and then it says, "Put another quarter in to play again," and that's what Loki does. He dies. He puts another quarter in the machine. And he gets to go again.
I mean, but everybody.
Yeah,
everybody did. It wasn't just
that's
him.
That's the point. Yeah,
everybody did. He technically didn't die. He has never. I mean,
this version of Loki has not died.
Right. I mean, we assume
he hasn't died since he's been taken off the branch timeline.
Right.
I have to rephrase that because he died a couple of times earlier.
Yes. But in everything that's going on with the branch timelines and everything, everybody else has died twice now.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. And I thought that the voice said something about, "I'm going to drink your blood. You died. or I want to drink your blood. There was something about
Yeah,
blood.
there's two. There's one. As Sylvie and Loki get in the truck to go to the bar, there's the voiceover for that. That's like, "I want to drink your blood" or something like that. And then there's the one at the end, like, "You died, put it, let's play again," kind of thing.
Right.
Or it might be him. It might be the second one. Might be, "You died. I still want to drink your blood. Let's play again." But it's in there twice,
Right.
and they make a huge point of showing the Zaniac side. So it's like,
Right.
oh, this is a big deal. Like, again, it could just be a wink and a nod, but if I put what happened in Multiverse and this, and the possibility is who could possibly show up in the Marvels, it's just kind of an interesting, like, it's not that big of a jump to go A to B to C. It might be A to C to F, but it's all in the same time. Hmm.
So the last episode is next Thursday,
Right.
and we go see the Marvels next Thursday.
Is it next Thursday?
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Our showing's at 7?
Yeah, we'll have to do some creative. We might have to film our review in the car.
Maybe. But a lot of people are complaining about what's happened in Phase 4, and that there was too much and it wasn't good quality. And I happen to agree that maybe they put too much stuff out. I think that's a legitimate thing. I think the quality is there. I think the quality is there, but all of it wasn't the same quality that we've been used to. And so
Right.
this series is amazing. Guardians 3 is amazing. Like No Way Home was amazing. Like, there is good stuff in this phase.
I really liked Ms. Marvel.
We loved Miss Marvel. Like, we really liked Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, she's wearing the shirt, for Christ's sakes. but so there's been some discussion of maybe there's too much and Marvel's lost a step, and everybody's, you get to the top of the mountain and everyone wants to attack you. But one of the things we've all loved about the MCU is that everything is actually connected. They all are standalone, and they are all connected. So if they put something like Zaniac in the Loki series, and the post credit scene from this, and it added to this, and it's like, okay, this is a standalone story. That could mean that means absolutely nothing for this story, but it's a wink and a nod over here, going, it's a thing, totally a thing. I think that's it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of everything else that we wanted to that was discussed. I still can't get over Obi trying to buy his own book that he put on the shelf for himself. So let us, as somebody who's trying to maybe, I feel attacked. Let us know what you thought of this episode and our reaction to it in the comments down below. Please be nice. That's a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Follow us on all social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links in the description down below. Till next time, cult members, I don't know what we're going to do next week. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.